let's take a moment to troll an internet troll. I may not be the biggest Madonna fan on the planet, but I know what she did and what she continues to do for the LGBTQ+ community. So she will be featured in this video series more times than I can count. With that being said, let's get the show on the road. It is Gay Culture Rewind time, and this week we're looking at the year 1991. We're taking a look at everything that happened that was gay in the year 1991. I've got an entire playlist of similar videos for the 1980s. If you want to check that out, I'll put a link to that video's playlist at the end of this video for you to check out.
Rewind! Let's go back in time.
To live will be an awfully big adventure.
Don't with the chuck.
Hasta la vista, baby.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner.
Come with me if you want to live.
Oh, my love loves going to leave.
One of the more delightfully camp alliances came from Right Said Fred. Their debut single, I'm Too Sexy, blew up in 1991, and Richard Fairbrass came out as bisexual that same year.
Slammed in discos and clubs throughout the country and wrote a song especially for me. I'll let them tell you more.
I'm too sexy for my love.
The band became one of those weird, unavoidable pop presences in 1991. Their cheeky, hyper-confident vibe folded into gay nightlife and club culture in a way that felt both ridiculous and celebratory. It wasn't an explicit activism movement, but sometimes visibility arrives wrapped in irony and platform shoes. And that mattered, especially in the decade after one of the darkest times in gay history. This era also saw established performers and underground artists who, whether by choice or by reception, became queer icons and will be featured in upcoming videos in this video series. If the queer community of 1991 had a soundtrack, it was equal parts house and dance floor exaltation. Released in 1991, Rosalla's hit single Everybody's Free became an instant dance floor hit. The song's message, permission to feel, to move and to exist, carried obvious resonance for queer club culture, where the dance floor was part refuge, part cathedral. And then there was Finally by CeCe Peniston. It was never meant to be a gay anthem, but it became one almost overnight. Finally is a kind of record that turns up at every pride brunch, bridal montage, and late night club set. It's pure ecstasy, gospel tingled vocals, thumping house energy, and lyrics that felt like a personal liberation anthem. And for a lot of queer listeners, it was a victory lap in 3 minutes and 12 seconds. These tracks weren't just hits, they were emotional infrastructure. When mainstream radio or club DJs played them, folks heard liberation amplified. And in a year when mainstream queer representation would be dicey or tokenized, dance music handed out the good stuff. TV in 1991 was still hesitant to lean in with gay storylines. In 1991, representation was increasing compared with the 1980s, but it was still mostly episodic, guest characters in courtroom or medical plotlines, or single episode coming out beats. Fully fleshed out gay characters who remained regulars on mainstream network shows was still very rare. In 1991, LA Law aired what is often cited as the first lesbian kiss in primetime network TV. It was a revolutionary moment, but unfortunately the lesbian character involved didn't reappear in the TV show.
I shot the first kiss between two women on major television. And that was on LA Law.
And that was unfortunately the reality of 1991. Visibility appeared, then vanished.
On February 7th, the hit series LA Law aired its famous Lesbian Kiss episode. The same-sex smooch, which was the first of its kind on network television, was considered controversial at the time, and a handful of advertisers pulled their commercials.
It was a big deal.
But even a single televised kiss in a high-profile drama lived on in water cooler talk, and propelled discussion about who television was for.
I'm thinking of telling my parents about us.
1991 also brought us The Lost Language of Cranes and Our Sons, both made-for-TV movies that looked at gay relationships, family, and the complications of queer life. In The Lost Language of Cranes, a young Londoner, Philip Benjamin, comes out to his middle-class parents, And that revelation cracks open family secrets. Philip's coming out forces his father, Owen, to confront his own repressed sexuality, while the household navigates shame, curiosity and slow acceptance. The film shifts between Philip's relationships and the way the parents process what being gay means for their marriage and family life.
Julie Andrews.
Donald is a very close friend of James, my son.
Anne Margaret.
Your son, my son, yeah, I bet they're real close. You want me to be like you? Well, I'm not.
Julie Andrews. Anne Margaret, Our Sons, Sunday.
Our Sons was an American made-for-TV movie that centers on two mothers from very different worlds who are forced to face homophobia, illness and love when one of the sons, Donald, is dying of AIDS. Audrey, portrayed by Julie Andrews, travels with her son James to confront Donald's estranged, initially homophobic mother. The film is essentially about maternal reckoning, learning to see gay sons as whole people, reconciling estrangement and confronting the human toll of AIDS in families.
It was a good piece to try to make in those days, and I know it was an admirable piece. I'm very pleased I did it.
I always know where I am by the way the road looks. Like I just know that I've been here before.
Cinema in 1991 was where queer artists flexed risk and imagination. The year's film landscape proved two things. Queer filmmakers were experimenting in form and content, and mainstream cinema still couldn't fully reckon with queer desire, but the undercurrents were getting louder. One of the most important queer films of 1991 was My Own Private Idaho, which was directed by Gus Van Sant. The story follows two friends and hustlers, Mike, played by River Phoenix, and Scott, played by Keanu Reeves, as they drift across the Pacific Northwest, searching for connection, love, and some sense of belonging. The film became a landmark of the new queer cinema movement in the early 90s. It was raw, poetic, and unflinching in its depiction of queer desire and marginalized lives. More than that, River Phoenix's performance, especially in the campfire confession scene, remains one of the most moving portrayals of queer love in mainstream film history. Daddy and the Muscle Academy gave audiences a deep dive into Tom of Finland's erotic art and the subcultural visual language he created. For those of you who may not know, Tom of Finland was an artist whose hyper-masculine, fetishized drawings reshaped gay visual culture. The film mixes interviews with the artist known as Tom of Finland and people he influenced, archival material and stylized enactments inspired by his imagery to show how his work helped to build identity, desire and the aesthetics in the gay community, especially leather and fetish scenes. Even films not explicitly about queer life thrust queer desire into the mix. Return to the Blue Lagoon came out in 1991 as a sequel nobody really asked for, but trust me, closeted viewers got exactly what they needed. I did a video about Return to the Blue Lagoon and how it caused a gay awakening. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check out that video.
More trouble tonight for Pee-wee. Police say Paul Rubens, who plays Pee-wee Herman, tried to talk officers out of arresting him on indecent exposure charges.
On July 28, 1991, actor Paul Rubens, known as Pee-wee Herman, was arrested for indecent exposure at an adult movie theater in Florida. The scandal ripped far beyond private embarrassment. It became an example of how society treated sexuality, celebrity, and shame, and how quickly an actor's entire career could be recast in the public eye.
Fans and friends in paying tribute to the singer Freddie Mercury, who died late last night from AIDS. Mercury, lead singer with the group Queen, died only 2 days after confirming that he was suffering from AIDS.
On November 24, 1991, Freddie Mercury died of AIDS at the age of 45. This one doesn't need explanation. Fred's death was seismic. Queen's music, his voice and his persona, all of this meant enormous things to the queer communities worldwide. His passing was a massive loss, and a wake-up call about AIDS, a reminder of how far representation and medical understanding still had to go. As I said at the beginning of this video, if you haven't seen my videos about the 1980s, here's a link to the videos playlist. Please check it out if you don't have to, but it will mean a lot to me if you check it out. If you enjoy this video that you watch now, please give me a thumbs up and a subscription would be nice. It's the easiest way to support content creators on YouTube and the easiest way for you to stay up to date as soon as I post new stuff. Thank you very much and I'll see you in the next video.